The double 30. Gotta make it safe, but alright, you're allowed double 30. Um, I really didn't want to do that again. Alright, let's continue. Darkness blurs the edges of my vision. Black tendrils twist and coil around my limbs. The music, jeez. Soft footfalls echo from the far distance, scurrying, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with the sharp, piercing notes of her laughter. A scream turns a burst, but my throat closes off. Ever so slowly, a chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me apart from one. There's only fear. Once again, her laughter echoes and sound both bitter and unforgiving. It is the last thing I hear before she reaches for me. The ground trembles. The world slows to a stop. Oh my God. We're in Isabella's room. Oh God, thank you. Morning breaks in a blurry mess of vivid shapes and colors. Oddly, there's no feeling of terror or confusion gripping me, despite the fake images that has driven me from sleep. Awareness kicks in shortly, then slow and sluggish, as I blink away the last remnants of unconsciousness from my eyes. The early morning light already streams through open windows when the memory sets in and the room finally comes into focus. Isabella's apartment. And I bet he has never been here before than seeing all those doodle cups. Pushing myself upright, my eyes wander idly towards her prone form. She hunched over the coffee table, both her arms on her head while she continues to rest. Then to the chaos of papers and folders we've left scattered over it before sleep has claimed both of us. Oh, it's 5 in the morning. Right, we've bunkered down here last night after both our nerves have calmed down. Mine, for the most part, staying together was an unspoken invitation. And anyway, I'm pretty sure neither of us wants to remain alone when there's that woman. Is she still one in the first place? What we normally call a human. Can it still feel guilt? Does it understand pain?
Fuck, I'd rather get charged for breaking and entering than mess with whatever that thing was any day.
Not that thinking about it still matters, and all our lives are in her hands. She's dangerous. If we don't do anything about her and discuss, we'll definitely be pushing daisies soon. I can let that happen. I've dallied on this long enough. Left all my friends in harm's way after warnings they've all given me. Besides, beneath the terror and the adrenaline that keeps me running, knowing what lies ahead for Isabella makes it hard not to take action. The paper sitting on the edge of the table calls my attention. It is light against my hand when I reach for it. It has caught my eye the night before. With the lot we still need to go through, I simply ignored it. The logo emblazoned at the top of the page, however, provides this paper a whole new meaning. Not for me, but definitely for her.
A scholarship grant, huh?
Ooh, Isabella got a scholarship. I've only never heard her talk about this once or twice. Completing her degree, that is. She rarely goes about it in great detail, preferring to keep it to herself. Perhaps it's the fact that she thinks she's already too old to be chasing after it. It has been 5 years after all, but I've got enough snippets of conversation between her and Zack to know she has never given up on it. Despite how things have panned out with her father, she's one step closer to this part of her life. As silly as this may sound, coming from a friend, I'd like to give her the chance to have this. Whether this means stepping out of my comfort zone and thinking what to deal with disguises, I'll do so. If only to see that same smile on her from that time again. These days, the only moment she seems to show it is when she's asleep. Like right now, no matter how uncomfortable she appears. A smile of my own forms. Despite this, when I glance at her sleeping form again, she hasn't moved since, her shoulders rising and falling in a slow, even rhythm with her breathing. You won't think she has any problems this way.
If only that were true.
Sighing, I place the paper back where I've gotten it, carefully so I won't accidentally wrinkle or damage it in some way, and finally push myself off my makeshift bed. Isabella shifts when I carry her off from the floor and over to her bed, but doesn't wake. Simply tucks herself comfortably under the covers I pull over her. Aww. Briefly though, she mumbles something to herself and draws another deep breath.
Becca, Ashton's being dumb again.
She drifts back to a deeper state of sleep after, like it hasn't been interrupted by the slightest movement earlier, but the small smile on her lip remains. One I find myself returning in kind.
Who sleeps like a rock now?
It's better this way. Better leave her to her dreams for the moment, which I hope are better than the ones I've had. She'll have time to worry about her problems later when she wakes up. For now, this'll be another thing I don't want to take away from her. A moment of respite, no matter how fleeting. She deserves it after everything she has been put through. What I've put her through, really. In the meantime, I still have 2 other people I need to check with. Isabella will definitely get in a tizzy if I don't check on them. Cold Luxbourne air meets me upon stepping out to hallway. Not unusual in itself. This is what Luxbourne's weather is supposed to be. A bit cold, damp for the most part, and more often than not, terribly drab, with an occasional sprinkling of rain every few hours. The sky is still clear, but I'll give it a day or two before the weather takes a turn for the worse. I've complained about the awful rains for years, despite having lived here my entire life. I have to admit, though, seeing it return to the usual feels extremely reassuring. At least, something's still normal in the world, and I can no longer think the same for the situation we're in. A nightmare. That's probably all this is. Usually I'll say, I've been through worse. But that's simply not a lie, I've often told myself, isn't it? And I've fed myself a great deal of lies through the years, just so I won't have to think about it the next day. Maybe we won't even have this problem, if I haven't been running away and ignoring things, hiding them someplace no one will see, because I've since believed doing so is a show of weakness.
The fuck do I know about ghosts, though?
What does Zach? What does Rebecca? Zeman has shown me photographs, mentioned weird things happening around him these past few days. Bottom line, he likely knows as much about this as I do. Why else would he approach me? The guy who knows stuff, according to him. In the end, all I've done is giving him to brush off. Some reliable guy I am. Hell, Rebecca probably in the same boat, grasping for anything that might have provided an answer, a way out of this. What can any of us do, when all of us lacks any understanding of what's happening? One thing is clear about this, however. That thing is after us because of the letter. Both Rebecca and Zach have seen it too. She will go after them as well. Yet here I am, walking up Becca's door, one slow step at a time, a stalling tactic to allow myself some time to put the mess in my head in a better order. How to phrase this when there's a 90% chance she's still pissed about a whole different matter? It's the only reason we didn't check on her last night, aside from the ungodly hour Isabella and I arrived. Well, only alarm her by showing up in her home in the middle of the night, acting like babbling lunatics, and her anger can last quite a while. These days it seems the only one she can easily forgive is Isabella. But even with her, Becca's fuming still takes hours. I run my hand through my hair and straighten out my jacket before knocking. Once, twice, and 3 times. Just be sure she has heard me, even if she's asleep. She's usually awake by now.
Hey, Becca, it's Ash. Open up. Don't tell me you're still in bed.
Seconds tick by. No answer from her, and dread has started to creep up. I've been trying to handle tight situations, but the feeling has been doing that quite frequently since last night. My mind begins to anticipate the worst, and in the next minute concern has mixed in with my thoughts, and I bang my fist on the door, louder this time. She'll definitely be livid, but I'd rather face a rat than a dead body.
Becca, it's Ash. There's something we need to talk about right away. Open up, I know you're...
Your girlfriend left early this morning, pretty boy.
Oh, she's at the library now.
So if you could do us a bloody favor and shut up, that'd be real fucking polite.
They really like to swear. All of them. My hand was short of landing another heavy knock. From the other unit, Rebecca's other neighbor peeks in through his door, though I see nothing but a bundle of blankets. I'll say they need help from being devoured by the sheets, but sounds like he's just fine. He's a huge asshole too. Goals of action, so people like him won't ruin your day. No, I got the nicest person on the planet. Has done me wonders when I was a rookie patrolling the street. I need to match his temper. Exactly.
Oh, did she say where she was going?
I don't know. She said something about meeting someone or something, in case Filipina girl over there asks. Well, what am I, her keeper? You know some people want to sleep in on a bloody Sunday, so keep it down. Just looking forward to this weekend. Thanks, you damn git.
Well, there's no need to be an ass about it. I'll get out of your...
He slams his door shut, without warning, but not before muttering a string of very colourful words about me. Probably thinks I won't hear him inside the four walls of his apartment.
Jerk.
And at the end of it, a sigh. There you go, Ashton, he's not worth it. So Rebecca's not here. I must have missed her by now or so. But at least she's not alone. She should be safe. In theory. Most so if the person she's meeting with is who I am thinking. Nevertheless, I still can't help but worry. It's an easy thing, continuing down increasingly darker lines of thought, to act brashly, to find out where she is and go straight there without deliberating on my actions first. There's Zack to boot. Rebecca not alone, but I can say the same for the big guy. A simple phone call to the both of them should do the trick. It'll ease my nerves at any rate. It's better than rushing over to Zack's place or assuming Rebecca's whereabouts, and finding out they're not where I've guessed they should be. Assuming the worst will come next, we should rather avoid this early. Any other reason I won't bother them. But an emergency begs for urgency. This one, right? Even if it isn't, anxiety from concern dulls judgment. Something I most certainly can't afford to lose at any given time, especially right now. Any means to calm it will do wonders with the muddled mess my mind is already in. Putting up my phone, I thumb through the screen until it ends up on a group with only Zack's, Rebecca's, and Isabel's number list. Other people will probably say I keep too few friends when they chance on this. To some extent, it's true. But it's better to have close friends than a lot of them and not really being friends, you know? I can easily name about 100 people I've been acquainted with through the years. Colleagues, blockmates from uni, neighbours, those sort of people. They all come and go, but these three have chosen to stay for some reason, without wanting or asking for anything. Unlike the others, none has Zack's kindness, Rebecca's patience, nor the sincerity in Isabella's eyes. One day, these guys are just there. The next thing I know, being with them eases it. That heavy, sombre feeling lingering in the air when you stand alone in your apartment, or something as simple as spending your day off without anyone. I'll say it's loneliness, but this carries much more depth than that. If I can help it, I don't want to lose any of them to some stupid curse. A phone call may be the least comforting thing at the moment. Honestly, I prefer being in the same room with them right now, but I'll take what I can get. Becca first. She'll get angry at me for worrying about her. She isn't some helpless damsel in distress after all. She isn't the shy little girl I knew when we were children. We're already far from the people we were back then. But that's more than enough reason to check in on her. That I don't have to image her taking anything head on. She'll do it, instead of asking for help when she needs it. I don't care if she gets mad at me, if only to know that she's fine. A ring in the silence of the hallway. Its sounds alone might as well be sharp enough to pierce through my ears. Another second passes. 2, 3, but when on the ninth ring it goes straight to a voicemail, a cold feeling instantly lodges in my stomach.
Rebecca Gales here. You've reached my voicemail. Sorry if I can't get to you right now. Oh, and if this is Isabella, yes, you're free to reheat the food in my fridge. Otherwise, leave a message.
Oh my god. I love the band she has with Isabella. Probably just busy, that's all. So I still barely manage to keep my voice even when I speak.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
Becca will be alright. Is alright. She's safe. She's with someone else. In the event that woman shows up, she'll have someone with her. Someone she'll be able to ask for help. She's safe. She can handle herself. Becca might have a fiery temper, but she knows when she's faced with something she can't handle herself. Rebecca will see my missed call and she'll call me back. Though I don't express it enough. Rebecca is someone I consider important to me. She's been my friend for the longest. Anybody else would have been fed up with me and left. The girl stuck by me, no matter how big of a jerk I've been. There's a Zach and Isabella now too, of course. I always be thankful for having them around. The worst times before, however, Becca was there. No one believes it when I say it, but I've surely had my awful moments as a bratty kid and as a horrible teen. Issues. I have too many of them to count and refuse to deal with for a time. At least that's what Andrew likes to tell me. I tend to think nothing of it. It has mellowed down over the years, thanks to the professor mostly. But at times I do wonder if it still burdens me the way it did all those years ago. After all, I was terrible, especially around the time of my parents' separation. Looking back at it now, I had no reason to direct all my frustrations towards everyone else. While I wasn't a kid who lashed out at anyone, preferring to keep it to myself and turning those negative feelings into more productive things. I've grown distant from a lot of people because of it. From my old friends back in my old school and the neighbors I've hung out with before moving. A habit I've likely brought with me into adulthood. I was just so angry with everyone and everything, you know? All I kept thinking about was myself. Wondering, why me? In retrospect, I was selfish. Little bastard who thought the world revolved around me. That I shouldn't have been going through it. I believe my behavior was entitled, that I had the right. So at times, but she stuck with me. Snapped me out of my little sulk, as she often phrases it. Whenever she sees a chance to bring it up. She didn't tolerate my bullshit, but she didn't leave me alone either. If anything, the whole thing made her stick around. Her concern may have grown a bit overbearing as the years went by, but she's still an old friend nevertheless. I owe her a lot. That won't change.
Damn it. Where are you, Becca?
Not a message left on the voicemail. Then on my third call, I hang up. For the time being, I can't do anything more than to wait for her to return my calls. Worrying me aimlessly won't get me anywhere. Second on the hand, that guy attracts trouble no matter how much he tries to avoid it. Doesn't help how he hasn't been too hot lately with a lot of people. His mention of plans today doesn't sit too well with me either. He might be the next responsible adult after Rebecca, out of the four of us it is, but I still gotta check on the big guy. Make sure he's doing okay, at the very least, whatever he has planned on doing. All I'm asking is for it not to be idiotic. He's a sensible guy, I'm sure. However, desperation clings and pushes people to do things, rational or irrational, it doesn't matter. Clear thinking flies out the window the moment you're in danger, and I sincerely hope he has not found himself in a tricky situation. His phone doesn't even ring before he answers. Or his voicemail, at least.
Hey, it's Zach. Well, a voicemail anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, just leave a message, yeah? And no, Ash, you're not allowed to lockpick your way into my apartment again. Just do what any other decent human being does and call if I'm not around. Thanks.
Did he turn it off? Why? I don't want to assume the worst yet. Maybe he has forgotten the charge yet? It can be. The guy can be a bit of a Boy Scout, even more than I am as a cop. He's the type who has an extra battery or a power bank in his bag, if he ever needs it. Well, we do know he's well prepared. Remember that of the photo shoot. And he always does. He won't say anything or brag about it, but he's got quite a roster of VIP freelance clients. He won't just leave his phone dead in case he's on the field, particularly when people will likely be looking for him. He always leaves his connection open whenever clients or his friends need him. Zach is reliable like that.
Why isn't anyone answering?
His mobile in an out-of-range area sounds more plausible, although the thought of it doesn't completely shake off the unease. Unlike Rebecca and I, he took the time to listen to what Isabella said. And even if he didn't believe it, he was definitely the first one to offer help or try to do something. If he ends up trouble doing whatever it is, so help me, I'm going to. Well, I can't be rash. I'm aware of that. Been running the same reminder in my head since last night. But if something happens, I'm certain my reaction won't be pretty. The added guilt from those times I've repeatedly dismissed him will surely haunt me.
Yo, Zach, call me back, alright? I wanted to check in and, yeah, just please call me back.
It's usually a joke between us when I say he's the Watson to my Sherlock. I don't see him as some assistant to put aside until he's needed, like some people like to believe so. He's not some pity friend I keep around to make myself look good.
If anything, he's the one who stayed by me out of pity.
Zach's the one who put up with me most of the time, even when he doesn't need to. It's not the case of a cool cop who helped out a minority. In truth, I was a hard-headed, hot-tempered, and reckless rookie up until I met him. It wasn't anything sudden, and some part of me is still that rookie, but I've grown, thanks to him. He tempers that part of me. Considering how our first impressions went, I'm lucky he stuck around. Beck and I may have spent a lot of years together as children, but Zach, he's probably the closest thing I call to a best friend. Though it's more than that. A camaraderie no words can express. He has my back, and I always have his. He's a brother I've never had the luck of ever having. Only child and all.
And I have every reason to worry about my brother.
Becca's neighbor did say she went out to meet with someone. No specific names. If I'm wrong and she's not with Professor Clark, then maybe it's with Zach. They've never been close, but it's not the kind of awkward friendship where meeting together remains out of question. Regardless, I continued dialing for his door number another 3 times. I kept on with Becca's. In the end, after the third attempt with no one answering, I stopped and moved to cut the call with a ragged exhale.
Waiting game it is, then.
I've been trained for those. Hell, I'm used to them. Just not when it comes to people I'm close to. Much as I keep reminding myself to maintain a level head. It's a whole different matter when it's someone you know. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. It's starting now, actually, with the anxious string calling and uncalling, causing a racket inside my stomach. And then except when the line finally connects. Before he even speaks, my question has already slipped out, including everything pent up, worrying and tension in my body.
Where are you?
The line's choppy though. I can still make out the words he's saying. Nothing to worry about then. He's just someplace where network coverage is shitty. Can you imagine where at this time of the morning too? Did he go out for a jog?
What was that, Ash? Could you repeat that? Signal's shitty here.
I asked, where are you? Hell, Zach, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now. What kind of shithole did you get into?
I've meant that to sound as friendly as possible, to keep things light at least. Instead, owing to frustration shows in my tone.
Good morning to you, too. I should be asking you that question. I've been looking all over the mansion for you. I thought you'd be...
What mansion?
Do I really need to answer that?
Why are you even...
Please don't tell me this is his plan. A morning visit to the mansion, where Luke Wright is. Of all the big-headed things to do right now, it's the best thing he can come up with. Breaking and entering. I've got plenty of reasons to rail at him right now. Although no matter how much I want to give him a piece of my mind, unfortunately it's not the time.
No, wait. Just get your ass to Isabella's place and hurry.
He pauses a moment, a second of indecision while he seems to contemplate his options.
How urgent is this?
Very urgent. In truth, the question, the hesitance and the indecision in his voice has caught me completely off guard, and understanding dawns on me. His decision to go there isn't the one born out of stupid impulse. He must have found something. However, no matter how urgent it is, he still shouldn't have gone there, alone at that. Despite myself and that split second of comprehension, I allow it to show. A weakness. A simple regress brimming with every unease and disquiet causing turmoil within me since last night. It bears a selfish hope that he'll understand, even though the unstable signal that whatever's keeping him there, he'll be willing to set it aside for now.
Pressing enough for you to stop asking questions and get yourself here. Please, Zach.
Silence fills the other end of the line again. For a long moment I assume he won't heed it, and I'll have to drive there myself, just to drag him away from whatever danger he's skirting. Thankfully, he agrees.
I'll be there in a few. An hour or two tops.
Thanks. I'll see you.
Relief washes over me as soon as the call ends. Normally I don't let myself a moment of respite in times like this. Gotta stay alert, you know. Rebecca's still out there, has yet to return any of my messages, but for the moment I relish in it. This is probably the first time I've permitted myself to do so since last night. Even the muscles on my shoulders have been complaining from all the tension I've taken on. It still annoys me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabella's apartment. Useless. That's what I am in the face of this. A mad dash around Luxbourne and Anselm isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during a drive. He's being way too hard on himself, don't you agree? Way too hard. This city's too big a place for one person to go searching for only two people. I'd be lucky if I even glimpsed the help of either of them. With one last hope for clouds towards the open skies, I slip back into Isabella's apartment and close the door behind me. I might have already grown used to this, but the waiting will always be the hardest part. More so when it's the people you care about.
You're up early. I thought you left.
This is not the first time I've seen Isabella like this. Standing casually by a kitchenette, a ladle in hand, keeping an eye on whatever's doing on the stove, while humming a soft tune under her breath. 5 years ago, it has become a common sight after 3 of them, including Zach and Rebecca, found a mutual interest in cooking. After that, whenever our schedule allows it, one of them will invite everyone to dinner or lunch instead of eating out. Rebecca prefers it that way. Healthier, she claims. Zach just too happy to be able to cook for everyone. Isabel, on the other hand, as long as there's food, she's happy. Me, I've been banned from the kitchen ever since the pressure cooker incident. Easier time, good times. Right now, however, the scene brings an odd sense of normalcy. A strange fit with all of the things going on around us. Not unwelcome only. Bizarre, I suppose. Isabel doesn't follow up on her question earlier. But she does raise an eyebrow my way when I take too long to answer. For that, I only offer a casual shrug in response and a short answer.
I've checked with Zach and Rebecca. I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
I'll add in a quip or two for her, if the timing of our joke isn't off or doing so won't be inappropriate. I don't want to alarm her either. There's no reason to yet. Until Zach gets here or until I've received an answer from Rebecca, whichever comes first. Nevertheless, it's clear she has plenty of questions. It's right there in a subtle crease between her brows and inquisitive gleam in her eyes. Curious as she is, though, she decides against voicing all of her questions out. Instead, she shifts her attention back to the stove and gestures vaguely with her hand in the couch direction.
Well, if we're going to wait for them, don't stand around there. It's getting distracting.
You're just cooking. How am I distracting?
I don't know. Something might explode again, maybe. Zach's kitchen ban for you is also in effect here, you know. Now shoo, go. Stop hovering. You'll ruin the food. I'll be done here soon.
She leaves no room for an argument by swatting the ladle at me. And just like that, I've been kicked out of the kitchen. Left with nothing else to do, I drift back to a tiny living space and slump down on the couch. Closing my eyes, I allow the noise from the television to guide my thoughts. The ones I've been keeping at bay, freeing them from the cage I've built around them so I won't have to think. One by one they trickle back into my consciousness, each more frightening and unnerving than the other. So many things going on, so many things happening. The papers we've gotten from PRC doesn't provide any comfort either. Seriously, is there even a point to those after last night? What will asking those people do? If anything, this only proved there might be more copies of that dumb piece of paper. We have one here, but how many exactly is there out there? More importantly, how do we get out of this stupid mess?
Ashton.
Damn it, I haven't felt this kind of bone-weary exhaustion in years.
I don't want to think what might happen next in case I miss something. Shit.
Rebecca, Zach, Isabel.
They're all depending on me and...
Ash!
The voice snaps me out of my thoughts, abruptly wiping away everything rolling in a racket inside my head. Suddenly Isabella's there, crouched in front of me when I crack an eye open. I haven't even noticed the exact moment when I've bent over and put my head in my hands. Figures why she's staring at me like I fainted or something. The grease on her eyebrows ground deeper at my lack of response. Although she's merely staring at me, without saying a word, her expression says everything. So much for trying not to alarm her with bad news.
Sorry, I just spaced out for a moment. Don't mind me.
For a brief moment, she seems to accept that. Quietly, she shifts, standing up and takes the empty space right beside me. All done without a single comment. Then the next thing I know, she's gently pushing a bowl in my hands. The scent reaches me first before I gotten the chance to take in what she has just handed me. A faint, sweet smell of cacao wafts from the dish. Calming, comforting, despite the multitude of things bothering me. It certainly smells like the kind of food you'll eat on a rainy day. But from the get-go, it doesn't look as appetizing. So oatmeal, like chocolate oatmeal. What is this even? porridge? Why would she put chocolate in it? And milk drizzled on top? Hey, chocolate in your porridge is quite delicious. She tells me my tastes are weird, yet here she is saying me something equally as strange. In fact, she has already started digging in hers. I'm just not sure if the taste will be equally as appealing. Yeah, but you should try it and then add some banana. Baffled, I glance away. She offers no immediate answer, simply continues eating as if she hasn't done so in a week, with her focus solely on television. She's not watching, however, just listening, as the background noise, the voices from it seems too cheerful, a welcome distraction if anything. It's only after she has finished off half of the bowl that she acknowledges a question in my eyes. With a sigh, she cradles the dish on her lap and looks down at it. Briefly, her lips part, then closes. Hesitation, I don't push her. There's a distant air on her, as if she has remembered something that warrants a poignant thought. When she speaks at last, it's a tone too careful, like she's still weighing her words, considering the proper phrasing for it. Yet sincerity underlies each syllable once they're out in the open.
You should eat. Back at home, Mama would never let us leave the house if we hadn't eaten breakfast yet. Even Papa has got an earful when he tried. So eat. You'll need it.
She returns to her food afterwards, while I can only stare at the one she has proffered not a few minutes ago. Warm against my hands, tempting me to take a bite. Not that I don't appreciate this, but what good will this do? Zack and Rebecca are both out there. Who knows when that ghost will show up again? Even in our dreams we're not safe. But that's it, isn't it? We don't know when. And at present we have a chance at respite. Maybe the only one we'll have. Even if it's as mundane as sharing food between us. Quietly just sitting side by side like this without exchanging any words. The intent hangs unspoken in the air. Something that probably goes as far back as the second she offered food. Still in the end, Isabella never pushes it, and she lets her own silence comfy her hope. Whether I'll allow myself that break, she leave it up to me. Take her offer.
Thank you.
Take her offer. The words swell off my tongue, awkward and unfamiliar, far removed from those jests and quips we've shared. Yet she accepts this with a smile and nothing more, regardless of everything left unsaid. The sight of it brings comfort, more so than any generous offer of food can give. Though we both lapse into silence after. As we finish our food, there's ease in it. In this, the muffled sound of Luxbourne filtering into the room, in the light streaming from her windows, and the faint draught occasionally drifting and catching the loose tendrils of her hair. In the way her voice falters when she tries to form words, and despite the horror looming over us, I find myself wishing for the minutes to slow, for the seconds to last. But ultimately, she's the one who breaks it, softly after a minute passes, in words mumbled under her breath. Sometimes a silence simply compels us to speak.
I've been wondering, before last night, before Mama told me the news, what if Papa passes away, despite everything? That sort of thing. I know it's not good to think about, but I also knew it was getting worse. Mama won't say anything, but I've always known that one day he'll eventually.
She breathes a sigh as her grip on the ball she still holds tighter. There are no tears, but you might as well have them with how weak her voice falls. Are there even any left?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Before, I can easily say it's because of Papa. Now, I don't have anything.
You have that scholarship from LuxU.
Were you going through my personal papers while I was sleeping last night?
I don't really have to. You left it sitting in the open, right there on the table.
Like there's still anything to hide. She snatches it away from where I've placed it back earlier. Except there's no anger or annoyance in her face when she looks at it and rereads every line with an pensive expression. After a short while, she folds it neatly along the creases and sets it back.
I don't even know if this will work out.
Well, if it doesn't, what about that exhibit you've been planning with Zach?
Do I even have to ask where you got that?
Zach sucks at lying. You have no idea how easy he is to read. It was all in his face when I asked about it. And anyway, if that doesn't pan out too...
I'll trail off, hesitating, measuring the weight of my next words. Genuine as they are, a part of me believes they are a burden too heavy to impose upon her. Because no matter how much I want her to stay, we are not what ties her here. It'll be selfish to ask that of her. More than anything, her family will always come first. I say, nevertheless, if only to let her know that no matter what her choice will be, there will be people here whose lives her mere presence has changed. Mine most of all.
You have us.
The words startle her to a pause, and slowly she turns to me, her eyes wide, disbelief all over her face. But before regret forces an apology up my throat, her expression dissolves to something I can't quite place. Something distinctly softer, more tender, familiar, almost in the same manner she glanced at me years ago, that day at the bridge. However, I don't get a chance to figure out what it all means for her. All of a sudden, a knock breaks the moment, and just as fast, both our attentions shift towards the source. Before things can get awkward fast, I stand up to open the door while muttering some flimsy excuse in the process.
I'll get that. It's probably Zach or Rebecca.
Really? I know we're in a pinch, but their timing can't get any worse. Unrelated frustrations aside, once I fling the door open, a whole chunk of stone that has been stuck at the pit of my stomach simultaneously unseats itself. There in the hallway stands Zach, his hand raised ready for another knock. Although he's not at his most presentable at the moment, ruffled and drenched with sweat as he is, relief quickly washes over me like a tide. He's still panting when he pushes me aside and heads in. The second his feet cross the threshold, he scans the place, eyeing what little he can see of the room from the doorway. When finds none of whatever he's looking for, he turns to me with a questioning look. One has a hint of panic in it.
You said it was urgent. Did anything happen? Is it Becca? Bella?
Everyone's fine. Well, Becca's not here. She went somewhere this morning and hasn't answered any of my calls yet. But Isabella's...
I'm here, Zach. Morning.
His weight shifts. At the same time, the stiff line in his shoulders eases. Once Isabella walks up to us and welcomes him with a smile. He relaxes then, returns her greeting in kind as soon as he has let out the breath he has been holding, and attention
So, nothing's
loosens.
wrong? Why'd you call me here for then?
My explanation can wait. He has a lot of explaining to do. The fact that he went to Ashton alone, for some godforsaken reason, warrants a proper one. Cursed or not, he's already been given a warning. It frustrates me to no end this might be the plan he mentioned the last time we spoke. I get that he's worried about Helen, right? Somehow they've become friends, but that's not the issue here. Not when there's a murderous ghost who might go after one of us at any given time. Sure, Zach made here in one piece, but by some dumb luck, he's all right, and this takes one off the list of people I need to worry about. Frankly, as annoyed as I am, I can't just stay angry at him when I look at the situation that way. Hell, if that call didn't connect in that exact minute, there might have been a chance he won't be standing here. This is a blessing in itself. But first things first, some things still need to be discussed. There we go. Except when I open my mouth, the only thing that spills from it is my own relief. Despite myself, despite the rational part of my brain screaming everything wrong about Zack's neat little plan. We've had so many close calls within just a single night. Zack showing up on Isabella's doorstep, alive, whole and unharmed. I might as well take comfort in that while I still can.
You're okay.
You did tell me not to do anything stupid.
Suddenly, the whole room feels too heavy, and all I am able to do is drop down on the couch. A headache also threatens to burst in the same moment, or perhaps this is what release from anxiety feels like. Regardless, I reach up, a hand to pinch the bridge of my nose, even if it's likely to do nothing to elevate the impending pain.
Christ, you were right there! We have this stupid curse thing going on, and you were right there! You just walked up inside a private property! Those people can easily sue you for breaking and entering, and that's the least of it.
I know, Ash. But I can't just leave things as they are. I've got to do something. I know you're not very fond of the Wrights, but they don't deserve it if something bad happens. Hannah most of all.
God damn it, Zack, I was worried.
Unexpectedly, he laughs, from the half-hearted sort he makes when he's awkward or coming up with an excuse. A genuine one, before my annoyance grows again, and I snap at him, till he suddenly catches me in a headlock. His arms looping around my neck while he grinned his knuckles against my skull. Helpless, I squirm on his grip in protest. Even then, it's hard to do so when you're up against a 6-footer.
Zack!
Aw, he's worried. Why didn't you say so? That cool act ain't gonna fool me anymore.
Let go!
He relents soon enough, but only after he's done ample damage in my hair. I hate it when he does that. But for a few moments there, the tense mood finally lightened up and everything felt like how it used to be before this whole mess began. Makes appreciating little moments like this easier. Still...
Seriously, Zack, why are you even there?
Told you already. I was looking for you.
Why would I even go there?
Well, you mentioned a plan with Isabella here. I assume that's where you guys went, since that's where she found the letter. Sorry, I was really at a dead end.
The logic in it stuns me to silence, to say the least. Then I remember his hesitance, the turn he has taken before agreeing to go here, and all at once my anger from what he's done wanes. Partly this is my fault for keeping things vague. I can berate him for assuming that when I've only left him with fake answers.
You could have called me.
I did.
I didn't receive any, and my phone was with me.
You're kidding, right? I was at it the whole night.
The whole atmosphere in the room changes in 2 heartbeats. Back again to the tension-riddled one plaguing us. Zachary stares at me like I've grown on the head. Then gradually he shifts his attention to Isabella. The expression in his eyes, questioning, asking for a confirmation, like my word can be trusted. Not that I'm holding it against him. I can't even believe the thing coming out my mouth these past few hours. Meanwhile, Isabella stays quiet. Has been like that for quite some time. She looks like she wants to disappear right now. Guilt, frustration, anger, fear, all of flashes speeding across her face before it melts away under the expression of worry.
Please tell me he's joking. You were there?
No, we really didn't get any. Everything was quiet last night. But Zack, at BRC, Ashton and I saw...
She never gets to finish that.
Sup, I'm Ash from the Lux City.
The button phone rings again, rings badly sang ringtone throughout the whole room.
I'm a cool dude.
Both of them pauses, fading when I pull it up to check the caller ID. Rebecca.
It's Becca. I'll tell her to get here as soon as she can.
Looking for trouble? Better not lie.
Follow a word, I slip out of the room and answer the call, however. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Ashton, are you there?
Ragged and a bit out of breath, there's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to his call.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Yet. Where are you?
Downtown. I had to make a quick visit to the library. Listen, Ash, about that thing Isabella has been talking about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. I'm at Salemwell. If you can get here as soon as possible, that'd be really great. This is related to that.
You're there? Is Isabella with you?
Yeah, Zach too.
With a quick press of the button, I switch on the loudspeakers and step back into Isabella's apartment. I hold out the phone towards the two, giving it 2 shakes, urging them to speak. Both are still carrying worried looks on their faces. This should ease that.
Rebecca's asking for you two.
Becca? Is she okay? Hey, Becca!
Hello, Rebecca. Odd morning we having, eh?
Hey, you two. What's happening over there? Is this something I should be worried about?
We'll tell you once you get here. Please, hurry.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But I'm on my way. Give me a few minutes. I'm driving.
She mumbles a goodbye, then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for. Yet that call left an even more strained tension in the room. Thankfully, we don't have to linger in it for too long. She only takes a matter of minutes to get here. The second she steps in the room, Isabella clings to her.
I'm so glad you're okay. Ashton checked on you this morning, but...
Safe and sound. Everyone is safe and sound. I'm so glad you're okay.
He did? I'm sorry, I was in a hurry. I didn't have time to drop by and let you know.
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here.
No parent to crisp or brutally murdered somewhere. Whole, alive, although she seems a bit shaken. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least now I can relax. Ease the pressure off my shoulders, if only by some. But the minute Isabella pulls away from her, she winces. A small reaction. The young woman doesn't even catch it. It sets a precedence for careful observation, nevertheless. A close look at her reveals a much more disheveled than usual. Hair in a bit of a mess, probably fell in a hurry. The back of her dress also shows stains of dirt in places it rarely gets into. She's also leaning more on using her left arm. She's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling is the slight limp she has. Noticeable once Isabella leads her into the room. It all spouts a hatful of questions. What exactly happened and how she ended up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. I grab for her arm before she can walk past, carefully to avoid hurting her, in case there really is an injury. Seems like it at first glance, but you can be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising at least. Although minor internal fractures aren't out of the equation, they have a nasty way of staying hidden. Sure enough, Becca dances immediately upon contact. Tries to pull back, although she sudden gesture only elicits another wince, forcing her and Isabella to a halt. Both of them turn to me almost at the same time, their eyes searching mine for answers. Becca, for her part, doesn't appear quite pleased with the interruption, or the fact someone has brought it to light. But that someone has to make sure.
You okay? You're limping.
As expected, she tries to hide it. This time, when she squirms from my grasp, it's with enough force she almost stumbles back if Zack hadn't caught her by the elbow. Even with 2 more people shooting her concerned looks, she says to shrug it off.
It's fine. I just had a little accident.
Little accident? Hard belief on her other arm's nursing the supposedly fine arm. Isabel doesn't buy any of it either.
In a library? it kinda caught me off guard.
Something's happened there, hasn't it?
I don't have to elaborate on the question further. Shortly she goes very still and the hand placed over her right arm shifts over ever so slightly, its grip on the limb tightening. Not too firm to hurt, but just enough for a gesture of comfort for herself. Warily she casts a glance at everyone in the room, but only the one she spares for Isabella's linger longer, and in that moment something unspoken passes between them. An understanding. It strikes me seconds later how utterly familiar her expression is. It's the same one I've seen far too many times in Isabella. Since that day at the movie house, every time her attempts to warn us have been so rudely dismissed.
Let me see.
Can we? We have to check if it's bad.
Rebecca hesitates for a moment. Then after a minute of consideration, she sighs and reaches for the hem of her sleeves. Raises just enough for Isabella to take a good look at it. Not swollen, but a large portion of her skin started to turn an ugly shade of purple.
Oh, that is gonna be one hell of a nasty bruise.
Tell me about it. It was a library cart that hit me. You know, the old metal ones they keep near the history section.
Ouch! Like I said, nasty.
But she's there? She went after you. Yeah, I was in the archives, looking something up. Suddenly, she was just there. Well, she was using my own students against me. What kind of terrible person does that? Oh, it makes my blood boil.
You should have just ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book.
But she likes him with books, though.
Laugh it up, Ashton. I did. Then the bloody cart came out of nowhere. And you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, I would be dead by now.
Silence descends the room as the gravity of that one word hits all of us. Dead. Not a close call. Another would have. Another one we've narrowly avoided. How long can we keep it up? We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last like this. It's a miracle Isabella hasn't cracked yet. After all, she was the one who found that letter. I've expected her to have caved in by now. Yet her voice, calm and composed in the face of this, is what cuts through the thick air.
I'll go get a cold compress for that arm. You guys take a seat first. Ashton and I, we have a lot of things to talk about.
That marks the end of it, at least for the time being. And as soon as Isabella returns and hands her back the cold compress she promised, we get straight down to business. Surprisingly easy, considering the rigid air in the room. Although there's some tense fumbling for words at first, the whole conversation gains steam once what happened last night at PRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we've brushed off, carelessly ignored and rudely dismissed have been laid out for close scrutiny. Zack's encounters with the woman and his dreams, Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears, the dread, the fear, the terror she brings out even the bravest of us. Everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must be a way out of this. There has to be. Logic be damned. Or at least, that's what Isabella and I would like to believe. Yet, even as the cold morning light shifts the warm hues of late afternoon and eventually night, none of this still makes a fucking damn sense. Darkness has fallen, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. Sorry, there's a mosquito. I think I have it. I have it. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we've ever started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head, and the sheets of paper I've been holding smacks the table harder than I've intended. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room, and everyone simply falls silent. Along with it is the release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the unread since this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Don't just drop it. There must be something in this we aren't seeing yet.
It's an odd thing to hear from her. The very words I've been telling myself every single time I find myself facing a dead end. We can use a little of the optimism right now, I guess.
I know, but what are we supposed to be looking at here in the first place?
Well, you already looked through those files. You're the one that picked them out last night, right?
All of them? I'm pretty sure every person we've checked in there isn't necessarily involved. One client possibly died of old age. Remember, you found that dumb paper.
Not so dumb if it can kill all of us.
Very funny, Z-Man. Anyway, like I said, you discovered that paper right before the open house. No one else was allowed inside during that time. It's too broad of a scope if we include every single person. In fact, the only notable ones are C and Jean Marie.
But if we're going to include them in the count, shouldn't there have been more than enough people to end this fucking curse already? How does this thing even work?
Yeah, okay. They went in and out of this place. But no, you still don't get it. What I'm trying to say about those clients is...
Shouldn't we look into the mansion too? That's where the letter came from. That's where she came from. Maybe it's just as the professor says.
He did tell me there might be more to this than what I might be thinking.
Yeah. I mean, look at all this stuff Rebecca brought with her. Apparently our teachers have been lying to us all these years. So who knows?
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Quietly, Isabella reaches for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city has been founded. Her eyes narrow with each line it passes, but links the illustration of the noblewoman's servant.
Why do they have to keep this in the restricted section?
Rebecca merely shrugs at her inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
Why else would these tell a completely different story? Revising what's written seems a useless endeavor on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. But this might as well mean that what happened in that mansion years ago also equates into all of this. And the letter Isabella found, it's at the heart of it. The why and the how is what we're missing here. If I am going to go by what Andrew told Zack, the connection between the letter and the mansion's curse may run deeper than what we've initially thought. We won't be able to figure this out without looking into the other. Fuck, how do I? The mansion's a private property now. Can't just waltz in there? I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. One thing's very clear. These last 2 days, however, we're not safe anywhere and have to act fast if I want to keep my own friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later, she'll get us. Before that happens, I have to put an end to this. I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this for too long. A break is needed. Time to let everything sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know, I will. And it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in their eyes as they look up at me, waiting.
We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few...
The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth. And something heavy and grating sounds in the far end of the room. A harsh booming noise rending through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, 3 of them are on their feet, while I quickly bomb for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden hush, the four of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
Ashton, that might be...
Gather everything.
No questions asked. They waste no time getting to work, putting up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella's unusually silent as she gathers everything in her arms. Her own movements sharp and precise, a deep furrow in her brow. There's fear, but something hardened and urgent overshadows it. But the moment doesn't last. Before we can even finish, another noise up, the tension's already creeping to place. Jesus. Suddenly lights come out and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles. There's something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, take a step forward and release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person. I'm not even sure if this will work on a ghost. I need iron or salt. But right now, it's smooth surface against my palm, with a trick on my finger. Fights the closest thing I have to relieve as I approach the closet.
Ashton, what are you doing?
I don't think that's a good idea. We should just...
Where they all are, they immediately stop at the slight raise of my hand. But the edge is there, while they're all held in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, I have enough time and space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever is inside has yet to stop thrashing, but that it has now moved to baying at the low, louder, long I dally. Another shallow breath. I glance at my companions. I nod. Something creaks. Then the next moment, I'm grasping the handle and swing the door wide open to reveal nothing. Right away, I bought the clothes hanging on it, and still none. No ghost, no woman, not a single trace of whatever or whoever's inside. Confused, I glance back towards my companions, only to see them mirroring the same expression in my face. The noise has finally stopped. I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the next second, I'm barking orders and...
We should go. Everyone, we need to...
No. I'm sent sprawling my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain wrecks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against the floor, with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. Come on! A moment lasts before it starts fade from my vision, and then I sense it, cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, smell foul rot assaulting my nose, nauseating, sickening, a foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I've heard it, reaches my ears, my eyes snapping. Oh my God, it's on the bed. Perhaps it's just an experience, or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes. The gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. It's in the manner I gaze brawl on me, I'll say. Look of utter hatred and malice, I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers who never regretted their actions despite being caught. As if there is someone you can no longer reason with. I know the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be...
Ashton, snap out of it!
No, I can't die here. Not yet. The hate spreads my mind and the sting kicks him and then there.
Everyone out!
Kick her in the face, come on. With one powerful talk, I get my foot out of her grip and scamper back to my feet, along the beautiful mill she fills the room with. Within the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the fist of the first person my hand can reach, leading everyone out. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time throwing on the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them, and in a short while I'm driving us out of Salem Well. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night. Whoa! Jesus! It's going really hard, isn't it? Oh my God! What are you thinking? I'm really thinking that Ashton's story is like really taking up speed, and we're seeing more and more of her. I do wonder what Luke's story is going to bring us. Like, come on, I'm so sick of her, really. She scares the crap out of me. Jesus. Alright, next is for tomorrow. I'll see you then.